Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work. All right. Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise, and y'all, I'm so excited and nervous and excited. I don't know how to explain it, but we got MC Shakielive in the house on deck, and I'm just so excited. So y'all bear with me. Now, MC Shakie, hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
How are you today?
Now, I'm good. How are you doing?
I am so excited to be online with you, the only Mel Cruz. I am so excited to be here. Yes. What's going on?
Hard work is what's going on, MC Shakie. But I need to thank you for two things. Well, actually, first, I want to do a quick shout out to the Sean Davy Way show. Because the main thing is that if it weren't for Sean Davy Way, I don't think I'd be on YouTube like this. Because I've been following him. I'm a mod for him. And Sean, I just want to tell you, I love you and I appreciate all of the inspiration and positive things that you do for me and for us and what have you. So I just want to do that first. But then MC Shakie, I need to thank you for two things. The first thing is I want to thank you for agreeing to come on and allow me to interview you, and mostly because I don't have a gang of subscribers, and you didn't hold that against me, and so I appreciate you.
You know what? I started out doing social media. I was on IG, and I may have had 3 to 4 or 5 people that would consistently come into my lives, and I feel like that. I can't forget that how those 4 or 5 consistent, true to us people is kind of like I didn't want to disappoint them, and so and that was also the funnest I've had on doing our social media journey, and so I don't ever I know who you're like. I know that everyone starts somewhere, so there's going to be a time when you are as huge as whatever you think I am, or probably bigger. And that's going to be something that's for you, and you're going to remember. So I can't forget that, because who you see going up is usually who you see coming down. And so I'm never a person that believes that a number matters, because those 5 people made it fun for me, and those 5 people that would just come and just consistently be with me made me feel like welcome and warm, and I would not have continued this journey without them. And definitely feel like they have made an impact in my life, and so I definitely respect and honor, regardless. Numbers don't mean anything. It's quality over quantity when it comes to the social media. A lot of people don't realize.
Absolutely.
100. I'd rather have 100 people that like what I do than have 1,000 people that's just here for the ride. And so that's definitely where I'm at with it. So I love that.
So that's what that's the first thing I'm thanking you for, and I appreciate it so much. And the other thing that I want to thank you for is because I was in one of your lives one time, Shakie, and you showed me some mercy.
I did. That doesn't sound.
You did. And the thing about it, because here's what happened. You were on live, and this was back like in the wintertime. And I think it might have been like around midnight, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And you were on live and you were getting in your Audi. And I was like, ooh, Audi, I love it. And I was kind of putting the comments in there. And so 2 times you had hit the button on IG Live for me to come on. But, it was late and I was looking a hot mess. And I'd never been on IG Live and I was scared. And so you were like, so after the second time, you were like, okay, Mel Cruz, if you don't come on here, I'm going to block you because you've given me mermaid vibes. And I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, no, I don't want to be blocked, because I've been following you and checking you out and stuff like that. And I said, I don't want to be blocked, but dang, I can't go on here looking like this either. And so, so I just went on ahead and pressed the button. I laid my phone down on the table, and you're like, all right, so what's up? Are you a sipper? And I was like, well, yeah, I said, I follow you, and I commented on one of your posts and you liked it. And, he's like, okay. And then I said, Then I messed up and I said Mick Shakie. Wait, you heard me. And
Okay.
then you said, what? Mick, it's MC Shakie. Do you know how long and how hard I've worked to to earn this title? And what? And I was like, oh Lord, I done messed up. Shakie gonna read me and all this. Oh Jesus. So I was so afraid, but you said, all right, Mel Cruz, I'm gonna let you live. And I just said, oh man, but I was shaking. I ended up reaching out to some of my mod sisters and I said, y'all, I said, please come on station head with me real quick. I had to be talked down. I needed therapy, Shaky, because
I'm so
you can
sorry.
gather someone. You can
I'm
gather somebody.
a nice person, and I,
Okay.
so I'm such a teddy bear. Like anybody that knows
I
me can
know
tell.
it.
And the thing is, okay, so I do feel like I've earned my name. I feel like it's
Yes.
my. I feel like I've earned the MC in my name. I've rock shows from here and to from here everywhere from here to New York to LA, and so I feel like I've earned that MC title, and I definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of like you know. I'm kind of like partial to that. So I do a
Absolutely.
and I thank you for sticking around and explaining who you were. And
Yeah.
and again, I apologize, but thank you so much for coming.
Oh,
That I'm sorry, you don't have to be talked down. I'm not nobody like that. But
no, but it was just still, but it's okay because the biggest thing was I just didn't want to be blocked from your channel because, I'll be watching you. So I was like, oh Lord. So, but anyway, I'm just glad we are past that part and we're here. And because you're so amazing and exciting, it's like, I'm fine. I found out some stuff about you. I'm like, I didn't even know. So like, you're an author.
yeah,
That threw me.
public star.
That threw me for a loop because I didn't know anything about that. And what made me want to do this interview is because what made me shout out to Tiff West,
Hey,
beautiful
Tiffany.
Tiff West. Um, what made me want to do this interview is because I was in one of your lives watching you on IG, and you were talking about this book. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Um,
Okay.
First thing one of the main things I want to talk to you about is just all of the things that you do. Where do you get all this energy, and how do you manage to do all of these things?
I don't, but I will say, okay, I guess the energy. Okay, so if you know, I was in prison for 9 years and 1 month. I was 3,316 days of my life was spent in state and federal prison. And so I felt like for those years, I wasn't living; I was just existing. I was kind of like in a sleep state. And so just coming home, I wanted to hit the ground running. I just felt there was so much that I had to bring to the world. There was such a mark that I had to leave. So I definitely wanted to do that. And so it was kind of like I slept for 9 years, and so I got to be awake for the next nine. And so I guess the energy is coming from anywhere, it's coming from there. But and as far as you say how I manage it, I don't. I really don't. It's I have to say shout out to like the people that do support me and are there and helping me. It's not just a one man show. It's one face you see, of course, but everything I do, it's a lot of people behind the scenes that do help and make it happen. I have a wonderful 100% support system from every single sipper that I have, to my daughter, to my parents, to my sister, and everybody's always there to kind of pick up the slack when I'm lacking. I mean, I'm the person you see, I'm the loudmouth that you hear, but
Mhm.
it's definitely they are definitely the body. I might just be the head, but so I don't manage it. They manage it, and they do very well. They remind me if I have to do this, and remind me I have to do that, and remind me to keep my schedule right, and make sure I'm here and there and whatnot. But so shout out to them. And then not last but definitely not least, this is the grace of God. Like literally, I'm probably sitting here talking to you right now because of God's grace. I'm going through prison and being a gay man in prison and then being sexually assaulted in prison and attempting suicide in prison. I wasn't even supposed to be here, and so the fact that I'm here now, that's only due to the grace of God. So that's definitely what happens.
Amen. See, and I didn't, now that part I didn't know because I just don't know everything about you, but I didn't know about that Shaky. And that's the thing too, is because when you look at everything that you've been through, and the truth of the matter is that, you don't bother anyone unless somebody come for you. And I don't know why anybody would come for you. Because again, in your live yesterday, when you had your bonnet on, and it was a complete total stranger that came up there and said, what you doing wearing that bonnet? And Shaky was like, Well, and the guy said, men don't wear no bonnets. And Shaky, you said, yes, they do if they have dreads. I have dreads. And I
I,
was rolling about that.
I'm just that person that just like I try to give the same energy. A lot of people take social media a little too serious, a little too personal, and I'm like the type of person that feels like, you know what, it's social media. It's supposed to be meant for entertainment. It's not supposed to be meant to save our lives. It's not supposed to be meant to change our lives all the time. I mean, there are meaningful things we can find on social media. Don't get it twisted. But as far as just when it comes down to it at base, social media is for entertainment. It's supposed to be
Mhm.
for entertainment purposes only. So I try to give people the same energy that they give me, and that's
Right,
kind of where I go
right,
with that.
exactly. Okay, so now what I want to ask you about your skincare line
Okay.
because and it's clear that you use it because I just recently you did a nice little tutorial on how to rock it out and how to wear it and the steps and the
Yeah.
process, and I know you've been doing this for a minute. um, what I want to know is like what led you to create that, and I always thought like you had to be a scientist or a chemist or something like that, but what brought you down that road?
Um. Well, to be honest with you, I was being petty. To be so, Sip Cosmetics was born with. I was on live one day, and I was like, I was, I have a very public. Um, I won't say feud, but yeah, it's not a secret. I don't find Super Scent favorable.
Hmm.
And so she has a makeup line. I said I should do makeup, but I don't wear makeup, so it didn't make sense. But people are always saying you have good skin. What do you do? And
Yeah.
so I was like, well, my grandma has told me witch hazel, and I said I get these charcoal masks. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And I do that. I do a little spot treatment to my skin. So I was telling people what my skin regimen was, and they said, "Why don't you just sell that?" And they just hit me like, "You're right, I should." So I looked at who made my charcoal mask, and I contacted the manufacturer that made the brand that I was using prior to using mine. And they had what was basically like sort of like a white label program where you could
Oh,
tell them something that you wanted, and they formulate it for you based on their dermatologist and their um, and find different things. And as I began looking at their catalog of services and catalog of items, and I began implementing, they send you out basically like a some like blank. I forgot what they call them. I'm so sorry. I'm drawing a brain fart right here. But they sent me out a bunch of blank samples that I could try and see what I liked. And I picked a few and started with there. And I generally have been adding a few products. Generally, every twice a year, I add another product. I'm coming up to add another product. Should be this November. I started the company at the beginning of 2020, January 2020. And so I quit my job in March that year. Um, Opening weekend, we had about $10,000 worth of sales. That was not $10,000 worth of profit. That was $10,000 worth of sales. We didn't turn a profit until about 5 months in is when I think I made my first clear dollar. But last year we grossed in sales something in the area of about $60,000 worth of sales.
wow.
Um, and then this year, thus far, we've done about $83,000 worth of sales. Uh, and so, uh, so the pandemic was one thing that kind of it was helpful and hurtful because what I got to do during the pandemic was show everybody the steps about how I was starting my business and what I
Mhm.
was going through in business. And to this day, I still offer a lot of business owners cheap promo on my social media because if I didn't have my social media, my business wouldn't be as successful because I would have an absorbent amount of marketing costs. Because I don't have an absorbent amount of marketing costs, I can market basically if I wanted to put I can my marketing costs I can just promote on my channels for free. Um, so that's why. So in going through the process of businesses and stuff, we did this on the tool. We did this on YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, we had used to have business classes in the morning, and they would see exactly what I was doing and how I was doing it, and the phone calls I was making, and stuff like that, and the forms we were filling out. And so we got a chance to understand those mechanics of business when the pandemic actually hit. Because I quit I quit my job 2 weeks before the pandemic,
Wow.
because
Uh-oh. Shaky, you still there?
We haven't looked back. So starting it, I was being petty towards Super Saint, so, joking around, starting a makeup line. I don't wear makeup, so obviously it kind of didn't make any sense. But that kind of led to the skincare thing, and just being inspired by just being inspired by my family, being inspired by Sip Nation, and saying, hey, you know what, we wanna, this is what we want, and and it's come through so much.
Awesome. That's awesomeness. It's
Thank
and
you.
it's so focused. That's the whole thing. It's so focused, and that's a trait that I
It is, and it's so driven, and so far. Oh, is it me? Is it my phone?
yeah.
Oh, please come
Your
back. Hello?
telephone's- I'm here. Can you hear me?
Am I frozen? This
Yes.
this place has the worst Wi-Fi ever. Is it my phone? Hello?
Yes.
Uh, I'm going in and out. Hello?
I'm here. No, I'm here.
You're going in and out. I don't know if it's my phone or what's. Should I switch phones? Is it my phone?
I think it is because I'm. Oh, so Tiff West is saying you're good now. Say something now, Shaky.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? I can hear you now. It's my
Okay.
phone. The Wi-Fi here sucks. It's horrible. Can you see me and everything okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can. Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Um. So okay. So that part that's super awesome, and we're saying that it's Sean David Way said, "You're here, can't see, just go out and come back." Let's see, and then now I'm seeing you fine up
Can
here. So
y'all can hear me?
yeah, okay. So y'all just
Okay.
keep us posted if it happens again. Um,
Okay. Sorry about that, y'all.
no, so that's really focused and driven because you're consistent with that, and that is a trait that I admire in a lot of people because sometimes I think maybe I don't have that, or I need to get better at it. So I admire that. So you got that going on, and you're always consistent with that. Um, but how about this authorship, this book writing? At what point? Because right now you got two books under your belt, right? Or are there more?
There's two published, and one will be published also this November. So a part two to to the Kingdom actually will be published this November. And I do okay. So initially, writing for me
Yeah.
was okay. So in prison, there's nothing to do to read.
Right.
And when you've read everything, and I'm a nerd, so I mean, I could read a book in a couple hours. I put it in and I read it, and I'll be going away. So when there's nothing else to read, your imagination starts to flow, and so I started writing to kind of just get out of there, and mentally at least, and craft good stories. And so when I actually started writing in prison, and I wrote I wrote actually, it was a book called Painkillers
Mm.
initially, and it was so gay, and it was very very gay. Now I'm in prison with a lot of men who also are reading a lot, and they want to read. And so they was like, well, let me check out your writing, and so they be reading, and it got interesting to a few of them. And so a guy pulled me to the side and said, okay, you're good, you're the best writer, better
Mm.
than half the books we got around here, but anybody gonna read this gay stuff? And so I was like, well, you know what? You're going to read the gay stuff. You're just going to read it my way. So what I did was I created a book. I created a story with so many gay elements and gay themes, but not any gay characters. And so it was like gay underneath, just to because y'all like it. And it was just like I was in my mind thinking that. And so it became such on the compound where I was at. It became such a thing that they always wanted a part two or part three, or what happened with this person, what could you think about what happened with this person, or what could this happen, and such. And so we got all the way to part. I have like literally seven pages and pages and pages of handwritten books that I wrote in prison. I actually got Painkillers published while in prison, actually. And
Mm.
so, yeah. And so that is out, but it's not out. The publisher, it was all kind of stuff. They messed over me, and it was all kind of stuff. Actually, the publisher's here in Dallas, where I am. Painkillers. So, um, but what I did was I got painkillers. I revamped it for um, the time because it was written like in 2008 or 2009. I revamped it for the time, changed the characters, put back in the characters that were gay anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it left some of the ones that were not gay. I left them kind of straight, and then I put back a couple of the gay characters and gay things because it's a different time and people think differently now. And I released it as the Kingdom. And so that was my first entry into writing. Now, the Kingdom didn't come out before Deserve to Be Loved. I didn't get that. I didn't publish it first, but it was written in 2009 or 2010 as Painkillers, and then it became the Kingdom. And so now I'm about to release the Kingdom 2, Athena's Vengeance, excuse me. And then, which will be due in November. I'm still dealing with the editor right now with that. And so
Right.
hopefully it meets the deadline. But when I came home, there's the by me being sexually assaulted in prison, I was contacted by I contacted my therapist recommended in prison while for my sexual assault I did not fight back. I did not do anything to help myself while it was occurring. And my therapist says I'm beating myself up for it, and she says it's never too late to fight back. And so I had to find a way to fight back. So I contacted an organization called Just Attention International, which it was formerly Stop Prison Rape, and they're an advocacy organization, nonprofit, based in California that is aiming to end sexual assault in detention. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what they do. And I contacted them, and I kind of told them how can I help, and they assisted me in helping people, and I became a mentor to some other people that have been assaulted in prison that are still incarcerated, that I still write to today, and some that are not, as well as my story got heard by the people there, of course, who wanted me to speak in front of. Uh, so I went to New York, and they flew me to New York, and I spoke in front of uh, a panel of judges, prosecutors,
Ooh.
uh, defense attorneys,
Wow. Shit.
state congressmen,
Mm.
federal congressmen, and so I spoke in front of them. And so there was also a staff writer for the New York Times there while I
Mm.
did that, and they contacted me to write an op-ed.
Right.
Op-ed is just basically an opinion piece. And
Mhm.
so I wrote an op. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
It's all right. It's all right.
my apologies.
It's
So I
okay.
wrote an op. So I wrote. Can you see me? Can y'all see me? Is it
No,
showing?
the screen went black,
Hello.
but it's getting good up in here, MC Shaky. Oh my goodness, you ooh,
Okay.
just
Sorry.
so
Sorry
you're
about that. Sorry about that.
it's all rich. Hmm.
Right. So
So
I
you
wrote
wrote
an
the hot,
op-ed for the op-ed for the New York Times,
yeah.
and they after they did the op-ed, they did a actual a visual piece that's still on their website, still on their YouTube and everything. And and it told the story about how we joke about prison rape,
Mm-hmm.
and I explained, and so that was that, and so being published in the New York Times was a big thing because I had to be everybody knows now. Everybody knows. It's not a secret. It's the New York Times. It's the biggest newspaper in the world. And so I wrote that op-ed, I did the visual piece, and also I actually, some months later, actually wrote another op-ed about the New York Times for the New York Times for about criminal justice reform. So I was twice published in the New York Times, um, and that led me to kind of like, okay, maybe I should publish something because obviously I'm an okay, decent writer, um,
Mm-hmm.
if the New York Times is publishing my opinion pieces,
Right.
and it's just in my words. And so I kind of outlined the story of because I always get this question: was I gay before prison? Was I gay after prison? Was I gay in prison? How did I become gay or whatever? And so I was like, I don't know. I just kind of always have been gay. And I told that that was a constant question for me, for people, and so that's kind of like why I wrote the story "Deserve to Be Loved." And I wrote that based on my actual experiences coming out. And I wrote it
Right.
as a novella. I
Yeah.
wrote it as a novella
That's right.
and published it. and it was pretty decent. It did very decent. It was a good check too, girl. But because it
I
rose
bet.
to at one point, yeah, it rose to one point number 8 on Amazon list of short LGBTQ fiction in the
Right,
world, and so it was like, wow. It's not there anymore. It's probably like 400 or 500 or something now. But when
right,
it first came out a couple of years ago, it was like number 8. It was right off of like kind of like right piggybacking off of like the New York Times stuff and how it was like growing on social media, and so it kind of like was that. And so I was very glad for that, and it just got a lot of attention. So that's how I published Deserve to Be Loved. And I said, wait, look, I have all these pages of books about the kingdom, and so I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and publish this as well.
right.
And so I just kind of revamped the Painkillers into the Kingdom and published that, and I'm gonna publish. So kind of like going in that direction. But Deserves to Be Loved is a story that's based on true events. I would say fairly firmly based on true events. It was a little loose. I had to change some things to make the
Right.
story move along that didn't kind of fit, as well as just kind of like speed through some points of the relationship and to protect um, the identities of some of the people that were
Oh,
involved. But yeah, it was something.
see, now when it comes to that book, because see, that's when you were in your live and you were talking about the what's about to happen with this Deserve to Be Loved, and that's when I found out that you had written this book, and so I was like, okay, I went on Amazon so quick, check it. I don't even think, look, you was still I was still in your live, and the book was already ordered and ready to be delivered, and I got the book.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, when
Period.
I said, yeah, period. And so even when after I got done reading it, I texted you, I did, and I said, man, this is a good read. This book
Thank you.
is good. And the thing about it is, because you make it clear coming out the gate, um, you make it clear coming out the gate. Thanks, Shonda. So sweet, baby.
You do look. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Hey, friend.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, you too.
But
Definitely, you look good. Go ahead.
thanks, thanks, Shakie. But you made it clear coming out the gate. You said this is a work of fiction that is loosely based on actual events. And I know that because like I was like, oh, now I don't know how loosely, MC Shakie took it, but I know there's some factual things in here, like uh, the part in the story where you're talking about, Mike wanted you to go into business, but instead you wanted to go into political science. I want to ask you, is that part true? Is that one of those loosely based actual
Yeah,
events? Okay,
yeah.
because I've heard you
He wanted
talk
me.
about stuff.
He used to think that we were like he wanted us to be he wanted to do like a barber shop slash beauty shop slash kind of like real estate. Like he has so many visions for his life. Like he wanted to be like a businessman, entrepreneurial, but he wasn't really like good with education, like books and stuff, and I was. And so he was like, no, you got to go to business school so you can learn how to run my businesses for me because I want you to run my businesses for me and stuff like that. So that is definitely true. That's 100% true. That's who he
Yes.
was. He was like, look, I'm gonna just get the money. We're gonna do this, and I want to do this. I want to have a store and a block, and I want to have some rental houses and all this other stuff like that. He had a lot of dreams for his life, and he wanted me to definitely just kind of run a business because he felt I was nerds, book smart, so to speak. So
hmm So,
yeah.
another question I had about this book, okay, is um, the way you described, because I said this to you in the text too. I was like, man, the way you unwrapped the beginning and the relationship of you and Mike is beautiful. So my thing was, if this is just, you know, imagination, it's clear that Shakie is nothing but a sweetheart, a big, cuddly, lovable. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it's the if it's your imagination, it's so beautifully written and realistic. You understand what I'm saying? And then if it's true, it's still beautiful. So I don't even know like if you changed Mike's name or whatever the deal was, but the way that story unfolded is touching.
Thank I did change his name actually. Because okay, number one, his nephew is actually has his name too. That's true, but I don't. You don't want people to view people. I have a very big respect for the deceased and his family and everybody. So I had to change a few things to
Sure.
because people will find stuff easily. and will look at them or him or anybody differently. And so yes, I did change some things about his who is him as a person. That's definitely not his last name. I will be honest, his name was Mike, but his last name was obviously different. But also too, I think that so the tenets of our relationship
Hmm.
were art imitates life, and so I made it seem as a lot of times, and I don't like to speak that everything was peaches, cream, and gravy. And of course, it wasn't.
Right.
Every relationship has this. Every relationship has that. There was a time, even when I was, he was kind of a little physical abusive at sometimes. I don't, I mean, it wasn't roses and petals and spring flowers and stuff. Okay, it wasn't. But
Right.
but I will say the root of our love. I fought back, but
Mhm.
but the root of our love is what is portrayed in the story. You're getting what you're getting the feeling that you say, and when you say that if it's my imagination, is beautiful.
Mhm.
Mike for me, in truth, was love in its purest form. He had no like now in life. I can say somebody loves me for they want money, they want clout, they want this,
Right.
they want that, they want whatever, they want my savvy. Mike saw all of that before I even had anything. I was just a dumb kid, and so for me, it was like the purest form of love. Like I hadn't become shaky me. Like I hadn't gone through anything. I didn't have a testimony. I didn't have
Yeah.
a backstory. I didn't have a resume. I didn't have job experience. I didn't have anything. I was just a
Right.
dumb kid. And so for him to see all of this beforehand and fall in love with what could be
Mhm.
was amazing to me. So the truth in how the relationship is portrayed in the book comes from the truth in how you know uh, how he loved me.
Yes.
That's definitely
Yeah. I mean, and y'all, you get the book because it's good. It is a novella. So it's a
true. Yeah.
short book, but it is,
Yeah.
I mean, you won't put it down. You will not put it down. And if you put it down, something distracted you, and you're going to, soon as you're done with that distraction, you're going to get right in there and pick it right back up. It is good. That book is
Thank you
good.
so much.
But so another question about that though is so in this book you describe how your family, for the most part, where they okay, boom, all right, Shakey's gay. Is
Yes.
that a true rendition of
The,
what
the
really happened, Shaky?
now that is pretty much 100% spot on true. Um, that's how they found out. That's how my mom found out. That's how actually my brother, one of my brothers that is a twin, is actually up here in Dallas. He lives in Plano actually, so he's right up the street from where like 9 minutes from where I am now. And I'm reconnecting with him because me and him didn't get along all the time. My oldest brother is definitely that's true. He's in prison right now. He's definitely there. Um, my sister Tiff is definitely that's the part about me. Anything that's loosely is always dealing with Mike or other people. But as far as me and my family, that's my story to tell. That I
Real
didn't deviate from that much. Yeah, I
right.
didn't deviate from that from much anyway. I changed a lot of stuff about the outgoing people. The real Janelle is not really who Janelle was. And then there's
Mhm.
also Janelle, and there was also another girl that I just composited into one character
Yeah.
for the book. So there's but it's a kind of like she knows who she is, and she and this um his and things about his mother and stuff were kind of fudged a little bit just to kind of add credits and move the story along. But anything with me and my family, that's pretty much true to life. There's like not even one deviation of that other than that. It's just that that's what it is.
So that was major support because when I was
Yeah,
reading that, I was like, wow. I said, if this well after I said, if this part is really an actual event, then I bet there's so many people out there that wish they had the support that you had
right,
coming out as a gay man, coming out as
right.
gay.
Coming out of
Um,
there in the '90s as well. That was another thing. It was in the
yeah.
'90s. It was and especially in the black community, it was so taboo for us
Hmm.
initially. And still so much is taboo. It's still hard for it's hard for straight fathers to identify with their gay sons. And it's like we can accept a bit of uh, it's like lesbianism is more accepted than homosexuality,
Mhm.
and in trans it's just not across the board. It's like the trans children are not even understanding, have no connection with either parent, and so to this day, so with we see it getting better, but there's still so much work to do. Universal
Mhm.
acceptance is what and not saying it's the cure all, but it is the cure to a lot of what ails us as far as just when it comes to suicide rates in the trans and gay community being higher and triple the national average, and the foster care and out in the street and the homelessness rates in the lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender community. It's two and three times more than the national. Yeah, it's universal acceptance is the cure for that. Um, and that's just where we are.
Well, the biggest thing about that is that there's something in writing, and you really do have like a national platform that you're giving people a kind of like a role model or a road in which to support their children if their children come home and say, hey, this is what time it is, so
Right.
you're at least giving them laying a foundation for them to be, well, I don't know what to do, so let me try how Shakie's, how Shakie's mama did it, you know what I mean?
I get DMs all the time, and like literally, there's one DM when a mother was having issues with uh her baby daddy not accepting their gay child and treating their gay child different than he did his other children, and so and it was a powerful thing. And she came on a live actually one time, and she was just like, "This." I was like, "Listen, this is my number. Call me. We're gonna talk about it and do it that." And she called me, and I actually conferenced her in with my mama, and who gave her some just jewels of wisdom on how she dealt with my father, who, of course, that in the coming out part, and just being open and candid, and communication is key. And it's for the gay fathers, for the fathers of gay children, it's kind of almost especially hard because fatherhood is hard in the black community, let alone having to father a gay, lesbian, or bisexual or transgender child. And so I don't know. I think my mom gave her the advice of being the bridge, because it's not that he doesn't love the child, it's just that he doesn't understand why this is. He's blaming himself, he's blaming something he did wrong or he didn't do or anything like that. So it's a lot of self blame right there. And so
Hmm.
my mom recommended, like, okay, yeah, it's not going to be easy. You have to be a champion for your child, and you have to be the bridge between him and his father. You have to be the communication bridge sometimes between him and his father. And come back. It was a few months later. She actually popped back in the live and said they're doing a lot better.
Awesome.
And she is the communication go between. And yeah, it's not easy. And black women, y'all have it very difficult. Y'all, I mean, it's hard because y'all have to be the bridges to so many. Y'all have to be the bridges a lot of times, especially for black men. And I understand that. So it was just something for me to do, and for me to have a just I mean I didn't know what to tell her because I didn't grow up. I don't have my children. One of my children aren't gay to my knowledge. So I know how to be a son, but I was just causing my mama trouble. I mean, I wasn't the one solving things, so I had to
Right.
just put her in control. But look, let me tell you the woman that had to go through it, because
Work with it.
I don't know what to do, because
Right.
I was the one getting in trouble. So I don't even
Right.
yeah. So
But I just love the support that you got. I just thought that was like, I'm like, man, that is
yeah,
just super awesome that you've had
yeah.
that support. I know there's people out there that wish they could have it. So that part is good. Um, so listen, I'm going to deviate just a little bit because
Sorry.
when I just found this today, and when I was getting everything together, and so I just want to run this promo real quick for the book, The Kingdom, because that mug is
Okay.
smoking hot. This promo is on point. Um,
Thank you.
but we're going to come back and talk about Deserve to Be Loved. So let me run this promo
Okay.
for the King real quick, because I know that, in the chat, matter of fact, in the chat, they've been talking about, hey, drop the link. So we do have the link available for those of you that want to
Okay.
go on to Amazon and order up some of these books. The two books that are available on Amazon. Listen, I didn't order the second book, but when I looked it up, it's you can Amazon has it where you can start reading a couple of the pages. Shh, listen, that Deserve to Be Loved is not no one-hit wonder. You heard me? Because this the kingdom,
Oh,
and then I'm gonna
thank
say
you.
this too. In the kingdom, Shaky, you know how to write some sex scenes, don't you?
I've been having sex for a long time. I'm 38. I make 30 in November, girl.
Sex
So I know a
scenes,
little stuff.
listen, that's a mark of a true author. When you can go ahead and write up some sex scenes like that, especially the one in the kingdom. Shoot, hold on, let me run this promo real quick for the kingdom because this mug is good, y'all. Y'all check this out. Man, my mother's hot.
Hey,
That's hot. That's hot. That's
hey, that
hot.
504
Book is
girl. Let me
huh?
let me shout out. Let me shout out somebody. Hey, that 504 girl. I see you in here. Hey, you doing? Hey, everybody. Hey, the chat. How you doing? I got to see the chat while y'all was doing it.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
y'all so much. Hey, everybody. Hey, Queen Petty. Hey, everybody. Hey, Miss Gardner. Hey, everybody. Oh my God. Shout out to y'all. I see y'all in chat. Thank y'all. I can't see the chat while this is going, like while this is like that, and
Oh,
while
okay.
that was down, I was able to see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So that promo is fire. That is fire. And it matches the intensity
Thank
of the book. And like I said, I only got to read the first couple of few pages off of Amazon.
you. Mhm.
But I mean, it just shaky. And who knew all this? I'm glad somebody else in the chat didn't know you were an author because, but I'm glad we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Um, that book is good. And I mean, I have to get it. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Let's see.
Hey, Alan.
Anna Brownie
Hey,
just said
Alice. Hey, Miss Gardner. Hey, thank y'all.
it's brought.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much.
Mm,
Appreciate you. Thank you so
mm.
much. I hope you enjoy this.
So yeah, I had to run that up. So, but back to um Deserve to Be Loved. So now this is
Okay.
potentially going to be, and this is a special project that's coming up. This is potentially going
Yeah.
to be what, a TV show or movie? Come on and run that back.
Okay. So, so all right. So one of my favorite shows of all time. It only lasted 2 seasons, and they did like a little straight to home movie for the show. Was called Noah's Ark. And Noah's Ark is an LGBTQ plus. It's like the Black Golden Girls. If you have not seen it, you have to see it. Get you and your girlfriends together. It is good. It's great. It's like the cheesecake moment. You will not be disappointed. It's on Amazon. It's on things like that. I'm telling you, I will not tell you anything wrong. Um, I love Noah's Ark. I binge watched the 2 seasons. It was on Logo. Logo was is the MTV owned, Viacom owned gay channel. But it was a black gay Golden Girls. And the Golden Girls, and look, it's funny, it's dramatic, it's everything you want. It lets you into gay life, and it's not so ultra gay that you as like the a bigger Noah's Ark fan than me is my sister, a straight woman, and so a straight black woman, and it's that good. It's just that well written. It's just that well produced. Um, because I was such a fan of the show, I followed every single actor and every single producer of the show and every single writer of the show, every single one on Instagram. And you know what? So I got a chance to follow Mr. Patrick Ian Polk. Now, Patrick Ian Polk is the producer of Noah's Ark, but also one of the executive producers of P Valley, amongst other shows that he's actually had a chance to work on. And what I did was uh, I sent him my book free. I just sent it to him here. Um, uh, the success of Deserve to Be Loved. It was also put into an audiobook, and it still sells more than anything, uh, either of the books I've ever written. It still sells to this day. It still brings in a nice little check. It still brings in, even with Amazon lowering the cost and how it does and takes their percentage and stuff, it still sells the best. The audiobook still does what it does. And so a lot of the feedback I get from it is like, this is such, I see it. You paint the good picture. And something told me to send him this book. I did this, on Instagram. A blue check means something. People think it means something. And so when I got verified on Instagram, I said, you know what? Let me try to mix up. Let me see if I can get the attention of some of the people that I follow anyway, especially when it comes to things. And I took a shot and I sent it to him. Um, and I believe he looked at it because of the blue check. I don't know, but
Mm.
I'll say if he did, okay, cool. It doesn't matter. And he got a copy. I DM'd him, got a PO box address. He answered whatever, and I sent it to him. And then maybe 3 months later, he said, "Okay, I'm about to sit down and read what you sent me." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." And like later on that night, he's like, "What's your number?"
Well,
And get my number. And he called me and he's like, this is pretty good. This is some good stuff. And he, asked me some of the same, actually some of the same questions you were asking me about, like the characterization and where would I saw that and this, that, and other. And that happened. And then so it was another excruciating, like 3 or 4 or 5 months later. He was like, I'm gonna put you on a phone with someone. And so he put me on the phone with Mr. Canals, which is the in case you don't know who that is, he is the um I'm so sorry. My mom
what,
is
that's
texting me
Stephen
up.
Jenkins now.
I'm sorry. No, 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 no. She's they're evacuating, okay? And
Oh,
so they're just going crazy. All right. So Mr. Canals is a the one of the screenwriters for Pose. I don't know if you know that. If y'all missed that too, y'all missing out on the show. Uh, and so he is going to. Patrick put him in, told him about it, and he got a chance to read it and thought, "Oh, it's great, it's great." And so he's going to come to. So he's a screenwriter for Poe, and he wants to do a screenplay of my book, which so I'm not sure of 100%. They talk to me, but the exact process how this works. But he wants to turn "Deserve to Be Loved" into a screenplay. Now, from my standpoint, I would be basically signing on board. The only role I will ever have in the show or movie or series or miniseries or whatever, if the screenplay decided, would be just basically a consultant. I wouldn't be on screen or anything like that. So like a lot of people think, oh, I'll be on TV. It's not me. Basically, I'm giving him the right to take my characters and craft a story for them. So it might not be exactly like the book, or it'll be kind of based around a book, but it may be also points where he throws in characters that weren't even in the book, or takes characters away that were in the book, or make me have, instead of having a mother, making me a father or something like that. So he can do that, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it, but their job now would be to make create a screenplay or script that sells. Once it's sold, then it kind of develops from there. But So I'm kind of so listen. This is an excruciatingly long process, but he will be coming to New Orleans in next month. Actually, we're getting next month, and we're gonna do a couple of meetings and stuff, and one or two of which we're gonna actually go to some of the places so we can get visuals of the places that I was speaking of in the book, as far as like the Canal Street, McDonald's, the graveyard. I'm gonna
All
bring
right.
him to the Calio projects. I'm gonna bring him to where our old house where we used to live, because I actually contacted the people that live there now, and they don't have a problem with it. They actually knew who I was as MC Shakie, and they were just like, "Child, Shakie, you can do whatever you want. I don't care." They didn't even know I used to live there, and I was like, "Oh, child, Shakie, come on." And so I'm gonna take him to a few. Like I'll take him actually into the RO house. The part of the project where my aunt where my aunt was staying is not. Um, I don't think it's open, but I'm gonna just take him around there and give him like whatever, whatever. But that and I could show him some pictures and stuff. So we're gonna just be doing that kind of like that. Um, so you can get some visuals, ask some questions and stuff like that to see what world he would like to craft for these people. But just because he's coming with those visuals doesn't mean even the story might not even take place in New Orleans. He might feel like it needs to take place in New York. It could take place in Texas. It could take place in places that he knows. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I would be on as a consultant to kind of give that characterization. I don't know what control I'll be giving up, but child for the check, they can have whatever they want. I don't care. But
Right.
it's about the money
Well,
at the end of the day.
the thing about that
Um,
too. So it's two things. Now, Sean David Wade just posted, and I got the comment right up here on the screen. Said, "This is wonderful, Shaky. I want to be in the play. I deserve it, and I won't be fully ghetto." So, as a consultant, Shaky, listen, because his Sean David Wade's followers and definitely his mods, gang, shoot, we will all be in attendance. You heard what I said? So,
wow.
mm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so honestly, just I would not. I would be signing away a lot of my rights to the creativity part of it, but for the check. But what I'll be, I will see what I can do, John. I swear to God, I'll put in a good word
awesome,
for you. They'll be
awesome.
doing like a casting or something, I'm sure. If it does get picked up, I'm not gonna say when and if. Not gonna will. God got me. When it gets
Mm,
picked up, when it gets
amen.
picked up, God been having me since I got it. So at the end of the day, it's like it's gonna happen. I won't see no money from it till probably like 2023. I won't see. You probably won't see it in the screen until maybe the earliest, or maybe late 2023, early 2024. So it's not like it's gonna be a tomorrow type thing. This is excruciating. Development of the show, especially the scripted series, is very, very like it's not tomorrow type stuff. So this is kind of like the end of 21.
Mhm.
2022 would be like kind of like the go year for it, as far as like the back end parts of it. And so you might be looking for it like in 2023 as far as casting and all that other stuff like that. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited they were interested. I'm excited to at least I want to be I'm gonna make sure that I'm a part to see the entire. This is gonna be a learning experience for me. And so just to see something that see a piece of my life, no matter how they change it, and seeing a piece of what I went through, and then a piece of my story hitting someone's screen is just gonna be.
Right.
I don't even know how to feel about that. Like when I told my mama that, she was like, she don't want nobody playing her but Angela Bassett. I'm like, girl.
All right now. Right now.
So I'm like, yeah. So it's like oh, it could be. I'm excited. I'm so
But
excited about it.
but so now, what I thought too was that if if they're so interested in deserve to be loved, they're gonna eat up that kingdom. The
Well,
kingdom,
the kingdom is a lot different. The kingdom is more like a street lit urban saga, but it's better than any street lit saga, except for maybe something Wahida Clark wrote. But and that was the coldest winter ever. So it's two totally different. They're not connected. They're not dependent on each other. The kingdom is really good though. If you like urban thrillers, it's
mhm,
urban, but it's like it's on a different level. It does have a plot. It's not everybody has like it's not those urban novels where it doesn't make coherent sense. As a plot, as a his backstory, it has a story arc. It's literally I took an urban novel and made it like kind of legitimate on the level of like maybe I put it on par with something like the coldest winter ever by Sister Soldier or something like that, because that was a great urban novel that had a
right.
nasty like subplot storyline, like everything was
Yeah.
good when it comes to that. And so I definitely modeled my writing style after something like that to make sure that I didn't just write an urban novel, just write an urban novel. I wrote an urban novel so that it could have some legitimacy and be placed in a thriller category because it can be that too. So would they produce that? Maybe I don't know, but but it's a completely different world. I
Right.
would say it's not and there is a gay character now because I definitely wrote him back into the story, but it's like it's still true to life of what it is, and it's an entertaining thrill ride. It's not something that is like okay, Deserve to Be Loved is heartfelt and meaningful, and it's something for me. Um, the kingdom is straight entertainment. You're not. It's like you're gonna be just entertained. You're not gonna
Right.
learn nothing. You ain't gonna. You're not about to
You
just.
might
You're
learn
not about to
something.
like.
'Cause I was
Yeah. You might.
you might learn.
You'll learn a little.
You learn how to
You
say
might learn
Aries
a.
up in there. You learn how to say
Yeah.
Aries,
Yes. You do that. You
Aries.
do that. You do
Mm.
that. You do that.
Okay, you're gonna learn something. But that is, I mean, like I said, and I didn't even, or all I did was looked it up, MC Shaky. I just looked it up, and on Amazon, it gave them first couple of 4, 5 pages to read, and I was like, oh Lord. And I would have ordered it, but I said it's not going to get here in time before the interview, so I'm just going to wait till after our interview and order it. But it's
Send,
solid. It's
send
good.
send me. Make sure you send me. DM me your address. I'm actually going to I'm going to bless you with a copy, an
Oh,
autograph copy actually. So
okay,
make sure you
right.
do that. I will make sure.
Okay, I
Thank
definitely. Well, okay. Certainly, I certainly will. But okay, so I'm just so excited. I cannot wait to see all of these things materialize because
you.
that's some good entertainment coming down the road. And just to see it, from someone who I don't want to say local, but I want to say someone who we can reach out and touch, like you, like we can come on your IG live, you interact with your followers, um, and then to see you go from here and then to what's to come. That's going to be so interesting just to be keeping an eye on and to be watching.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate yes, Tiff was. I'm sure they will announce casting, but I don't know if you follow me on any of the social media stuff. But whenever I find, um, I will definitely post it, and I will keep y'all in the know. I don't have any qualms. I'm very transparent. I don't believe that anything is, I don't think what God has for you, nobody can stop. I don't know why they be hush hush about everything all the time. I'm transparent. Yeah.
So I want to ask you one more question. Um,
You sure?
so when I was reading, well, actually, it's two questions because you authorized me, said I can do it. So this is what I want to tell you. This thing that I find admirable about you, Shaky.
Go ahead.
And that is because now, and correct me if I'm wrong. So
Hmm?
the reason why you went to prison is because of that check thing, that was a check situation, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so when I read the article, and you can run it down because you'll be able to explain it better than me, but um, when I read the
I
article
just never really got time to think. Sorry. Go ahead.
in my mind, I said, I know that Shaky had to been running this thing like a boss, like an entire boss. Um, so do you mind, like, and the thing why it's admirable is because like they tell, and this had nothing to do with drugs, but they tell, I've heard people say, you got all these dope dealers out here, and if they would take it's clear that they have the ingenuity to be CEOs of companies and businesses because of the way they run their illicit
Right.
business. Um,
Right.
and to me, you are the epitome of that. You was running
Thank
that
you.
that little situation, but then and here you are holding it down. I mean, and doing big things. So, do you mind, like, giving us just a brief overview about it?
Yeah. I was always smart. I always thought I was smarter than the average bear, and I wasn't because
Uh oh. Oh, Shaky went mute, babe. Uh oh. No, you're muted, sweetheart. Uh oh. Wait a minute. Oh, let's see. You there? No, you're still on mute. Oh my goodness. Well, these technical difficulties. Well, anyway, the biggest thing about the thing is that MC Shake.
Am I back yet? Am I back?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
there
go
it
ahead.
goes.
What were you saying, sir?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's
I'm so sorry. Um, my apologies. Well, I always thought I was smarter than the average bear. I found out that the federal government is a smarter bear than I am. But before I found that out, I was smarter than the average bear. And I always liked algorithms. I went to business school. Actually, when I graduated from Southern University, go Jags. In
okay.
2004, I was working at the Hibernian Bank before it became Capital One. And I just kind of learned finances and I learned how money works in a sense and how financial institutions make money, how they hold money, how they do that. And so once you learn a system, you can also
Mhm,
learn the the intricacies of how um, a system can be scrutinized, accompanied by the fact that I was LGBTQ plus and not feel that's a lot. It's not all the time, like being a black gay man, there's not always a lot of opportunities for us
mhm,
um, in certain things. They expect as a black man for you to have this type of thing. They expect you as a gay man to have this type of thing, and kind of like putting encompassing the both. It's like as black women, that's one thing I think we can empathize with each other and see. It's from a black gay man and from a black woman's perspective, it's like we're at the bottom of the barrel on that note. Black women, you have to fight twice as hard. You have to fight twice as hard, be twice as smart, be twice as credentialed to get half the money.
mhm,
It's kind of in the sense of, it's just true, it's facts. And it's kind of like in the sense for a black gay man as well. We have to fight twice as hard, be twice as credentialed to get half of the money. And so it's just kind of like I just looked at it like, okay, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to take it from you. And so that kind of led to my life of crime. So coming from a place where I was always already a nerd and coming to a place where I understood banking systems and how what they ask for, what they need to see, what is this and this, and just knowing the ins and outs of their systems, I was able to develop things that perhaps schemes to get get money. I did. So this particular scheme was one of many that I concocted, where I uh, uh, basically got a hold of accounts that belonged to income tax preparation companies, and I developed income tax checks that mimicked those that would pass any banking system, whatever, safeguards. And I sent people that I knew out to cash the checks, and they would give me half of the money that they got from cashing the checks. Um, and this was in 2008, not of course recently or now because chicks don't even exist anymore for real.
mhm,
And so back then it was a little, it was a little, it was intricate then. It's not intricate now.
mhm,
But because we netted well over $1 million. The feds got me for 562,000 of the million, basically because I got half of every check. Um, and so I went and then I was sentenced to uh, 10 years in prison. I did 9 years in 1 month. I got about 11 months of good time throughout the 10 years. And that's kind of like it is. That's kind of like it is. I came home and hit the ground running. Uh,
yes,
if, in retrospect, I would not do it. There was not, whatever money I thought I got, there was not one that was worth a single day of my personal freedom. If I could go do it again, I would not do it. And I
mhm,
wouldn't. And that's just what it is. I've done it. I've always taken onus of that. I've
mhm,
always been candid about that. And just as it is who it is, it's part of me. I've made a mistake. Uh, I paid my debt to society and uh, uh, to the government and everybody that I was in debt to. And
mhm,
it's just kind of like at this point moving on from my life. They do this system that we're in makes it difficult for that to happen, but there are ways and there are things. And so that's kind of like what that was. Was I the boss? I was definitely the the brains of the operation. It was why I
Yeah.
got the most time. I was definitely why it was definitely why I got the most money and the most time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's definitely it. Was I like a uh going kicking down doors and no, I wasn't that. I was the no, I
Yeah.
was a passive boss. I didn't send out hits
Sure.
on anybody or anything
Absolutely.
like that. It was just yeah. So that
Right.
wasn't part of it. Yeah.
But but the thing about it is still, and even that's inspiring, Shaky, because you know there are people out here right now that I can't get a job, I can't do, but you have come out and you have reinvented yourself, and it's like you have it's like you've taken hold of your destiny, what you were destined to be from the beginning of time. You understand what I
Right.
mean? And so it's inspiring as far as I'm concerned, because mostly because you don't run from it, you don't hide it, you're very transparent about it, and it's just like I said, you're a focused man, you're intelligent, and and you're gifted, and you're just the whole, you just got a lot going on for you. So it's inspiring. It's
Thank
just
you so
it's
much.
a good
Thank you so
thing.
much. I appreciate you
Well,
so much. Thank you.
absolutely. So I've like thoroughly enjoyed you. I ran through the
I
comments.
have.
Um, I just want to thank you, Jakey. I
Thank you so
really
much.
do, because I was nervous. I was like I had to.
Why, Mel? Don't be there.
Well,
You got you are going to eventually have to interview presidents and first ladies and Michelle Obama and everybody else. This is just the beginning.
yeah. Well, I just, and so anyway, I
Thank you so
I
much.
can't
Thank
even
you.
express the gratitude. But I am gonna get your skincare line because your skin be looking
Thank
on. That's you just
Thank
oh
you so much. It's a
yes.
little, it's just it's that Hershey chocolate, girl. You know that black don't crack.
Yeah, and they look good. They look good. So I just again
Thank
I
you so
want
much.
to thank you. I want to thank everyone that pulled up, that commented, that had nice words to say. Um, and so really, let me run through the comments real quick. Um, Thank you, Sean Davy Way. And yeah, so shout out to everybody.
Appreciate it.
Um, that's it. That's the podcast. I want to thank all of y'all for pulling up. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.
Definitely.
I want to hear from you. And until next time, we will see you when we
Bye bye.
see you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work.